Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Have you been thinking about maybe doing side hustle, or maybe you just love traveling? You're like, I wonder what it would be, how I could learn about more destinations, or you help family members and friends with their vacations. And you know what? You might be able to build a career with the travel business, whether it's a side hustle or it becomes a full time thing. Well, you're in luck because today's episode we will go into detail about different ways that you can become a travel agent and the benefits associated with that. So excited to chat more about that. Please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on all the major platforms. And want to give a shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episodes. If you can dream it, they can book it. All now or email. But anyway, Nick, what do you say, brother?
Hello, winners. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm very excited because I wish I had someone telling me what we're going to expand, when you're going to explain the next 25 minutes before I start. I would have started a lot earlier.
Yeah, and I know you're going to go deep into your story, but and also talk about some of those things you've done for 3 years. But it inspired me to do it, to see how you've built it, you've grown it, and then it just really opened my eyes to so many different things about travel that I really never knew about, and even things like from my own personal travel, the benefits with that. But I don't want to steal any of your thunder because you are definitely more of an expert than I am. But when you think about becoming a travel agency for your or travel agent for yourself, what was going through your mind at that time that led you to pursue this career track?
Great question. So again, I explained that I think in the beginning, but it's a good refresher. So basically, I traveled a lot during. I was very lucky and fortunate to be able to travel a lot. Playing basketball, and I always enjoyed during the interseason, like going places. USA was my favorite place, but every year I was doing like a all inclusive in Mallorca, like Ibiza, like Spain most of the time, and Dominican Republic a lot, Mexico, like at all those places. And, when social media starts, I like to post pictures of place I go, and I start having like a bunch of people asking me, friends, or even people I don't really know, but they're on Facebook. They start asking me question about the location I've been to, and then I realized that I see them like a few months later posting pictures from the same locations, and it happens over and over again. I was just laughing, and it makes me happy. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad that I was able to help that person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to the US, and first 4 years I was not traveling because I was completely broke. But I was starting to understand how things are going here. I wanted to go into building my own business again, but I didn't know really what direction to go. And then I got drawn into other things. But when I start having the means to start traveling again, I start doing it, and same thing happened. People started reaching out, and people in US tend to be like a lot more adventurous about places to go and stuff. And of course, cruising is huge here. When I was living in Belgium, well, I was cruising, but not as much, and I didn't hear too many people cruising because there is no place close by to really take a cruise other than river cruising. But river cruising is more expensive, so it's not like as easy. So anyway, I start cruising and I start going places, and then same thing happened. I'm like, what am I missing out? Like, I always believe that I like to give advice, out of my, the good of my heart. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm missing out of something, and I start searching different ways to become a travel agent. And I realized that there were a few options. The number one is you can build your own agency, which is extremely hard and expensive at first. Why? Because you need to do all those classes, go on the certifications. You need to learn with no outside help, like who to contact for each vendor. And there are thousands of vendors. I mean, no,
Yeah.
there's so many vendors. And every week I register to new vendors because they're popping up like mushrooms. So I'm like, yeah, I need to learn everything. It's going to be so hard. But the reward may be bigger after, like everything else. It's more in the beginning, a lot more in this instance. but then you just get paid directly from those vendors, and you don't have a someone in between who takes some part of it. But you need to build everything: your platform, your CRM, your email address, which is the easy part, your website, your everything needs to be, and you need to update everything yourself because deals change daily. So that's so much work. So that was number one. Number two was, okay, there are franchises, of course we are part of Dream Vacations, but there are tons of others. And so I analyze, I think, 3 or 4 of them. So I look at all of them. Then I just cut majority, and I had like 4, I believe, 3 mainly. And then I start having calls with those different agencies to finally realize that Dream Vacation is really the platform I think is the best one for me, because I like the platform they have. They have the best platform by a mile in the industry. They have the most support on marketing piece. They are growing immensely. There are like 1,500, 1,800 now agencies in United States only. So it's growing drastically. I think every month they have 12 to 15 new franchises. And their reputation. First of all, the name Dream Vacations, the reputation they have is fantastic. They are owned by WTH, or World Travel Holding, which is the biggest travel holding in the world. So all those factors makes me. But yeah, they are, they're not free. So
Yeah, right.
that was the part. But I much rather do that and not have all the back end to do myself. So that was number 2. On number 3, you can become an associate. So an associate means that you still don't have a boss, so you own your business, but you are part of an agency. So the upfront cost is a lot lower. It's like almost nothing, and you get all the tools that a franchise have, like pretty much all the tools. So you get the website, your own website with your name on it, your picture and everything yourself. You get your email address, you get the CRM access, the back office, everything you get like for almost nothing. And so yeah, and you can get started like any franchise. And then of course the split, it's a split between the franchise owner and yourself based on what agreement you have with whoever. It can go different direction. So those are the 3 different options. So of course I decided to go the second option for multi reason that I already mentioned. But when you start your research in order to understand, okay, where to start, so those are really the 3 main options.
Awesome. No, yeah, that makes sense. And I think some people, they may want to take that plunge and do the first option. I think other people like you would take the second, where they want to have their own agency, but they want some additional support to probably augment their opportunity to have success. And then there's others where, hey, I just want to see what I can do with this, and then, maybe build upon it down the road, but being as an associate, low risk. When I was, when you first talked to me about what you were doing, and I was reflecting back on my career, because I used to own a mortgage brokerage in Las Vegas, and there's so many similarities, because first I was a loan officer. Then I decided I wanted to have my own. And now I didn't do a franchise. I actually started my own business. So yeah, everything was on me for costs and things like that. But I had to work with all these lenders, very similar to the travel vendors, where you have to get approved by them, complete their training, understand their underwriting guidelines, work through all that processes and stuff. The one, and we also, a lot of people don't know this, or maybe don't think about it with mortgages. I would get my money at wholesale and then sell it retail. So that would be kind of like the back end, where I get compensated, but it doesn't cost out of the pocket of the person per se up front. But typically with mortgages, you have to pay points, right? And then, so those are fees. And one of the things that you talked about with Dream Vacations and how you run your agency is a vast majority of the time, almost 100% of the time, it doesn't cost anybody anything to work with you. And because the vendors already price in the travel agent fee into the quotes that people seeing online. So if they're booking directly with that agent, that's just more profit for that company, because
And
they
no
already
service.
assumed it. Yeah. And no service. So I was like, wow, that's really fascinating. But maybe you could talk a little bit more about that just to educate people because I don't think they really understand. It doesn't cost them anything to use an agent.
No, that's worth repeating. So, agency have the right to really handle their business the way they want because we are certified. Okay. So it means that we can decide tomorrow. I'm like, I'm going to charge $300 for anyone who called me and wants to use me as a travel agent.
Mm.
There's no law who tells me that I cannot do that. And I know a lot, and you do too, a lot of travel agents who are actually charging two, three, $400 every time that they're building a quote. All right.
Mm.
And they are very successful. So just saying like it's not that people are pushed back by then. Yes, if you go on a budget, you try to get the cheapest possible, you will not approve that. But anybody else who wants the experience, they have no problem paying for someone to actually do the work for them.
Mm-hmm.
What I decide to do with my agency is to not do that and to have, against the advice of some of my peers, but I decide to not do that. Why? Multi-reason. First of all, when I started, I didn't really know what to expect. So I'm like, I don't want to start with that. I may be adding that in the future. But I realized that at first, my first year, I did a lot of cruises.
Mm-hmm.
Cruises, I don't need to charge in advance because it's very clear cut. I have all the contact. I have direct line for all the major cruise lines, and all the other one I know how to get a hold of them very, very fast, and I can get information in 5 minutes. So I don't feel right to ask for a service. I'm not saying it's bad for people who do it. Everybody do the way they want, and I respect that. But for me, I didn't feel right to do it. So that's number one. Then I start having more and more requests for land. So all inclusive and stuff. Same. I felt very easy to do. Yes, we spent, time building that. And then if it's a no, people ghost you because it's like every other business. You have like of things like that happening. It's a bummer because you spend time doing that and you have zero in return, but it's part of the risk of the business. Then I start doing a lot more after the first year of Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, and all that. And that's building from the scratch using different vendors. So you spend a lot of time actually searching for the best price for the clients, looking at the difference between vendors that you work with in different countries, different destination, build from day 1 to day 20, like a full itinerary with flights, transfers, activities, hotels. I mean, it takes time. So it can take a few hours to build like an itinerary like that. And that's where I start understanding why agencies are charging for that. So there's two sort of agency who charging that. They have two sort of them. So they have one who they charging a flat fee. Like I said, $300 is pretty much a standard in the industry. You start $300 and I take care of everything. And then, if you book with me, you just pay the fee plus the $300. Or if you don't book with me, you pay me $300 in advance and then you can go your way. But at least I get money for the time I spent to build it. So I get that. Then you have some people who said, I will charge you $300 in advance. If you don't go with me, I keep the money. If you go with me, I will adjust the $300 within the quote. So you actually don't pay the $300, but at least it's a reserve in case you don't go with me. So I don't go. So this is something I would have no problem starting in the future, but just for itineraries like that, when I have to build from the scratch all the itinerary. I don't think I will ever go the direction of charging for a cruise or for all inclusive. Groups is also something that you spend tons of time, but it's easy because in the beginning, directly if they approve it, if they go for it, then they book the first room, then that they will, all the rest will fall through, so it's fine. But it takes time to start the process. So I can understand there as well why people are charging. All that to say that right now, and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon, for my agency, so everybody working in we have different associates in the agency currently. Everybody needs to follow that rule. And so that's the brand of Nick Monar and an associate with Dream Vacation. So yeah, the commission is included in the price that you are paying, regardless if you use us, other agent, or go direct. So that's very important to know for everybody.
No, that's awesome. And I want to circle back a little bit more on like how the commission works and the income opportunity, but I want to parking lot that for a minute, because maybe we can look at why should somebody, you know, become a travel agent. Like, let's just focus on the associate. So somebody's got a full-time job, or maybe they're not in the workplace and they want to start something. But what are some things that you think that you've seen and heard in addition to your own experience about why somebody should consider being a travel agent?
Yeah. So the same situation I was at. It's what I hear a lot. Like I advise a lot of people about travel that I personally do, and then they end up doing the same. So that's usually one that comes up a lot. Second one, people with a large network of people who love to travel. And if you breathe oxygen, you're a client. But some people know tons of people who travel. Some may know big companies who do tons of, corporate travel, and they wanna use that person. If that person is an agency, well, that's huge, because if you do like a presidential trip, or winner circle, or all those kind of things that companies are doing, if they want to do work with you to do that, you can book those things. That's of course a huge benefit. People want to focus about something very specific. If, for example, I know people who decide to do it because they are lovers of Disney and they want to be a travel agent for Disney. Well, you can do that. You can become a travel agent and focus in one thing and be super niche and advertise only Disney, and then you will book everything Disney. So that's another reason. The wrong reason why I know some people start with is because they want to take advantage of for themselves. So they said, "Oh, I will become an agent, and then I will have free trips." Well, you don't get free trips. That's number one. That's the wrong way to see it. You don't get free trips. And when you hear people saying, "Oh, I travel for free," that's not true. And unless they think about something that we call a familiarization trip, that's called a FAM trip for travel agent, then yes, you get very little. You have to pay a little amount, or just paying for the flight, and then the rest is included. But it's work. So when you are at those locations, it's not like you can go with, you go lay down at the beach for the day. No.
Yeah.
It's only included in the price because it's like a training that is given, that someone is paying you to go to, and then you can visit different hotel, resorts, activities. So yeah, you have fun, but you have to follow everything with the group.
Yeah.
It's not like you have you have maybe an hour or two free at some point during the day, but that's it. So the first time I did that, I was like so excited, and I had tons of learning during the day, but I was exhausted at night. The last thing I wanted is to hang and have drinks, and nobody could stay because everybody are exhausted when you spend a day on your feet, visiting stuff, learning stuff, and going left and right. So,
sure.
So that's not what I call like a free vacation. Yeah, you go places, but if you are not participating, you get a bill at the end of the thing. Hey, you didn't participate of those things. Here's the invoice. So yeah, that's number one. That's number three, actually. So make sure to do it for the right reasons, to build something. That's why I always cringe when people say, "Oh, I'm doing on the side." Side hustle is good because the hustle, I like the part, because it's a hustle. It's not an easy business. No business for me are easy. But this is not an easy business. Why? Because you have tons of learnings, tons of training, all online. So you can do it on your recliner, but you will have to learn so much online. Every vendors, every cruise line, every hotel, every resort have their own back office, their own platform. You need to be able to register as a travel agent. It takes a few hours to get approved, but you need to do it for all of them. Like I said, I'm 3 years in, and I still weekly have new registrations.
Yeah.
So you need to know in your mind, it's gonna take time to learn everything, to learn the business. Because me as an owner, I help, but you need to do the job. Because if I hold your hand, if I tell you everything to do every time someone call, and I do the closing and everything, I can do in the beginning, but if I do it all the time, what's the point to have an agent?
Right.
So you need to be self-motivated. It's gonna take time. You're not gonna be rich quick, but what is better to talk vacation all day with people?
Yeah.
This is the fun part. So yes, I know people who are making millions, but they work very hard to get where they are at. And then at the end, they start building teams. And that's what's happening. And that's why now I'm building teams, because I feel like I can answer most questions, that I have all the contact, not all, but I have tons of contact across the globe with people in different industries. So cruise industry, land industry, So I can navigate things very well, and I can teach, and I can share those information and those contacts with the people working with me. But I need to see that they are serious about building it. If they just do it so they can get 10% off sometimes for something, that's not something that I'm interested in. And I don't think it's something that's valuable for you to do neither.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you mentioned something. You said, they need to be self-motivated, driven. Obviously, like to travel. That helps. Like interacting with people,
Hmm.
obviously, because you're
People
working with
business.
them on a dream vacation. Any other like skills or attributes you think help? If somebody has that could aid them in being fully successful as a travel agent.
Be very curious and loving customer service.
Mhm.
I mean, again, it's a people business, like, so you connect with people. You don't have to see everybody like a number, like a dollar amount. Oh, that person. But be genuine about it. I give feedback all the time, or give advice all the time to people. They know I'm a travel agent. I know they book, and that's something. Don't be upset. People the closest to you are the people who will forget that you're a travel agent, and you will see that they are cruising or going to Jamaica or going to Japan, and you're like, "Are you
What?
serious?" I
Yeah.
I literally see that every week. I see people. I'm like, "Are you serious now?" Like, that person know very well that I'm a travel agent, and you
Yeah.
just go places. And at first it upsets me, but now it doesn't do it, because I know, like, that's how people are,
Hmm.
and they will eventually come, like, but when people ask me advice, I give advice. No, if they ask me for advice and they book with someone else and then they come to me when there's a problem, then
Yeah.
they will
Yeah.
say, listen, you have an agent, you should go to the agent. First of all, I legally I can lose my license if I help someone who use another agent and I help that person. It's not something I'm able to do by policy
Mm.
with my license. So,
Hmm.
but when I know that people have questions, or when someone is leaving, for example, I had a case with someone in my neighborhood who booked something for Spain. She forgot that I was a travel agent. Okay, that's fine. And then she's going to Barcelona. She said, hey, you have some place to recommend? I send her like a bunch of the recommendation. I don't mind, like,
Hmm.
I, I'm sure she appreciates it. I don't do for that, but in the future, I'm sure that she will think of me, like,
Right.
so be open to that. Don't be upset or frustrated when you will see stuff that people are, because it's gonna happen, guarantee you. And who closer people are with you, or more it's gonna happen. That's just and some people just don't think. Like, I can put you on the spot here. You said literally a week ago, and you are an agent.
Yeah.
You said, "Oh my God, I should use us when I do all my trip in Europe and I do my extension in different states,
Yeah.
city
The couple
for
days
two, 3 days."
extension.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I should use us. I'm like,
Yeah.
duh,
Yeah. I know. I know.
But I never went to you and say, hey,
Yeah.
why you don't use me? Because
Yeah.
it's little thing and you don't think about it, but it
Yeah.
happens a lot. And
Yeah.
so all those little things count at the end, and that's something that you need to be cool with, the fact that people around you will not think about it. It's not ingenuous a lot of time. It's just that they forget about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, be good with people, provide advice. Of course, the more you are putting yourself out there in networking events, in your community, going to the chamber of commerce, or whatever you do in order to put yourself out there. It's a business where you need to have visibility. People need to see you, and you will need to be really comfortable sharing on social media around you when you do trips and stuff. The secret, when I started 3 years ago, I asked the top 3 people in the company, because we do a yearly, as if you follow Two for the Win, you know that they have a yearly national conference on a ship.
That serves honeycomb.
And when you go on those, you have top performer in the industry. So
Right.
you have people who make millions of commission a year. And I went to them because that's always what I do. Whatever I do, business job or anything like that, I go top performer and I want to know how they do it. They told me literally this: who more you travel, who more money you make. And at first I'm like, yeah, it's easy to say, but it's true.
Mhm.
When I go out on a cruise or somewhere and I post picture, I know I will get 5 to 10 booking in a week from what I just post,
Yeah.
because people look and see. And I'm not a professional photographer, a videographer, nothing like that. So those people who are extremely big in the travel industry, they travel 250 days a year. They have a team back home who are taking care of everything for the clients. And they usually have a videographer or a photographer who travel everywhere with them. to take all those video, the picture, to create content, to put on social media, on mailing, newsletter, weekly, and whatever. But they do that, and people see beautiful things all the time, and they see the picture of their agent. And that's so powerful because not only is he talking about it, but he's experienced it. He's actually living it. So this is not something you can do day one, probably, but it's something that it's very true. The more you travel, the more money you make, because the more experience you can actually share with people. And that's an experience business. That's the travel industry. It's all about what can you experience. Experience more was something that Dream Vacation kept saying in the past. So that's something to think into consideration.
Yeah. And I think for people who are really intrigued by building a business in the travel business, like I'm just observing you don't necessarily need a massive marketing budget, because you were just doing, like you said, just post your pictures from your own personal travel. B, you have this stuff on social media. I mean, I think 98% of your business has been referral.
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, so when you think about that, now, could you do ad campaigns?
100%.
Could you do sponsorships? Could you pay for leads? Of course. But you've built the business over 3 years and never did anything other than you sponsor the Halloween in Cape, but that's more of a community outreach.
It was free. It was just me going and just things for the kids, the candies and the stuff. So it's a fee, but it's not something that I think it's an investment. But I put myself out there and I show my face, you know, and I just talk. Everybody know Nick the travel agent, and that's something that I enjoy, helping people. And then if they become client, great. That's just my mentality. But you're right. In the beginning, it's like, how am I gonna get clients? And then now it's like, how am I gonna get more people so I can actually service every client? I have between 5 and 7 reached a day. Yeah. From social media only. Yeah. People reaching out every single day for quotes, for price. Sometimes people, can you book that for me? So sometimes it's very easy, sometimes it's more work, but the secret is in the follow-up. Again, you need to follow up. It's like every business, it's a business, you know? If you take it like a hobby, it will cost you money. Yeah. If you take it like a business, it will make you money. Yeah. And that's the key. And here right now, this year, I share my goal, that was the last episode last year, or the first episode this year. But I share the goal, and the goal is to get 10 new associates who have the right mindset, who wants to build something in the travel industry, preferably outside Florida, because I'm building now on different states. But my goal is to have 10 people who have the grind to do it and willing to actually doing. I'm not going to be their boss, but I'm going to be there to help them. And the more I see that they're actually, willing to get better, or more I will put energy and time into them, because that's the whole point. So if you are listening to this and you are thinking about maybe starting something in travel, if it's to become an associate, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. If it's about become a franchise, happy to have a conversation with you. It's not going to be, of course, with me, but I don't take it as a competition. That's a beautiful industry, and there's so much room for everybody to actually do that. We are not like realtor yet, so we have there's a lot of us, but there's not every corner for like in Florida. But it's the same kind of industry. It's like you have like one brokerage, which is the franchise, and then you have a realtor who sell, and you get a commission based on what you sell. It's the same in travel industry. So if you're interested for any of the three, I can help you on the three, but I can help you a lot more for associate and franchise than the first one. But happy to really like have a conversation, because I just enjoy talking about the industry.
Yeah. And you touched on the end, and I think we're gonna have to do another episode because we just scratched the surface. But each vendor, depending on the type of experience, they pay out different rates.
Oh yeah,
that goes to the agency, and then you split it. So that's how you make money being a travel agent without charging fees to the client. So whatever they see online, you're giving them the exact same price or lower. But it's because the vendors already have that baked into the prices, and then but it varies by vendor.
Absolutely. Yeah, the difference are used, and I'm still learning about it, because we have, like I said, we have new vendors every week. So, but they're like average, like I said. But we can do another episode about that. So you can contact us, and happy to share everything with you directly.
Yeah, give a shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations, or send us an email at twoforthewinpodcast@gmail.com. Happy to answer any queries that you have to learn more about it. But it is an amazing industry, and just in the few short months I've been in it, massively eye-opening about things I never even considered or knew about. And it's fantastic. And like you said, what better way to live your life than going around traveling all the time and then basically getting paid to do it because you're earning commissions doing stuff like that. So really great. Yeah, we're gonna have to do at least 1 or 2 more episodes because there's so much we could talk about. But we are at our time. We want to stay true to our 20 to 30 minute commitment. So thank you, winners, for joining us today on this Wanderlust Wednesday. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win. If you have questions about the travel agency, again, see our details below. Give us a shout out and a call to find out more. Or if there's a certain topic you want us to cover about travel or destination, please let us know. Happy to do so. But thanks again to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. And lastly, if you have a little insight, Nick shared a little bit about his story and how he got into it. Please remember, my friend has a book published called Mindset is My Degree. You can find it on Amazon, Audible, and check it out. It's a heck of a story and very inspirational. But with that, I will bid you adieu, our winners, and we will see you next Wednesday for our next Wanderlust Wednesday, where we have another interview. High energy person. You guys are going to love this. She's a ton of fun, but something to do with yachts. So we haven't really talked a lot about yachts. So if you're interested, check us out next week. Take care, winners.
Bye, winners.